back, guys. Welcome back to Days of Darkness, and welcome to my review of The Fog. This one came out in 1980. It's starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Adrienne Barbeau, and Tom Atkins, and was written and directed by the legend himself, Mr. John Carpenter. Now, before I hop into this one real quick, I wanted to give a big shout out to a Swedish horror nerd. He's a buddy I met on Instagram when I started this whole Days of Darkness craziness, which has been an awesome ride, and I've met some really, really cool people, and he's one of them, and he requested that I review The Fog. Now, what I'm going to do, I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you guys to go support this man. I'm going to plug his Instagram down below in the description. Go give him a quick follow on Instagram. He does a lot of really cool horror content, very unique. I don't see people posting a lot of the stuff that he does, and I think it's a cool page to follow. I know I'm fucking doing it, so why aren't you? Also, I'm gonna plug his YouTube channel. He's trying to get a YouTube channel up and running, which I can totally sympathize with that. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do by any means. So yeah, if you guys can go support that as well, I'm gonna plug that down in the description below. But in the meantime, I'm gonna review The Fog. So yeah, man, this was my second time watching this movie. And I gotta say, I definitely enjoy this movie. There's not any real flaws I have with it. The only real flaw I can think is some of the relationships between the people are a little hokey. One in particular that I will get into in the spoiler section. But man, I fucking really liked this movie, guys. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's in my top 10 or anything like that. But damn, what we have here is a John Carpenter directed ghost story. And for anyone who knows me, I fucking love paranormal horror. I fucking love it. So the idea of John Carpenter directing a ghost story, I'm fucking sold, man. Give it to me. With his films, you know, I have some that I like more than others, and this is somewhere in the middle. I definitely don't hate it. There's not an ounce of this movie that I loathe or despise or anything like that. Really, none of his movies go that low, but I would say this is like right in the middle. I really, really like this one, but it's not... It doesn't blow my balls off by any means either. What we have here is a very, very solid horror movie with some amazing performances from, like I mentioned, Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Atkins. We get a lot of love letters to the past. Obviously, you know, with Tom Atkins being in this, his character's name in the movie is Nick Castle, which Nick Castle is the gentleman who played Michael Myers. Janet Leigh is in this from Psycho. And not only that, just a lot of love was put into this movie. It's a John Carpenter film. The guy knows movies. The guy knows how to direct. The cinematography in this is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. Fucking The Fog itself, you know, the setting. That's what's so terrifying about this film, is the fog at points in this movie envelops the setting. So the setting is the horror within this film. And it's beautifully done. And obviously there are things in the fog, which we will get into in the spoiler section. But man, overall, guys, I think this is a fucking fantastic movie. I know I might have been lowballing a little bit there at the beginning. It's like me comparing chocolate ice cream to chocolate bars. They're both fucking fantastic. Take your pick. I just like one a little more than the other. That's all. But yeah, man, overall, really, really fucking enjoy this one, guys. I don't want to get too crazy into the plot, because this is really one of those films you have to go into blind. I will say this, though. This is a second time watch for me. The first time I watched it, I wasn't... How do I say this? I was with a group of people, and we weren't really... I'm not going to say I wasn't paying attention to the movie, because that's not the case at all. Anytime I watch a movie, I don't like watching movies at parties or anything like that, because I know it's just there. If someone suggests it, I know it's just going to be on for background noise, and I'm not having any of that. If I want to watch a movie, everyone shut the fuck up and let's watch this movie. That's it. But I was watching this with a couple people, and I guess just the finer details of the story definitely went over my head. So I will say this, if you're going into this for the first time, is it's not like Inception level, you need to pay attention. It's just, if you really want to absorb and enjoy this story, it is something that I think needs to be done alone. I think you need to just sit in a room, turn the lights off, grab a thing of popcorn, and just fucking enjoy and soak in every detail of this. Because the second time I watched it, I soaked in every single little detail, and it meant the world. And I love when movies do that. I love when movies don't spoon feed you shit. I hate when movies do that, as a matter of fact. And this movie does not do that in the best way. So, alright, I'm gonna stop rambling. Let's just go ahead and get into the fucking spoiler-free section. Or, no, spoiler section. I'm awake, I promise. Alright, spoiler time. Your ass has been warned. Now let's just hop right into this motherfucker. Being that this is a ghost story, I thought it was a really, really good decision to start this movie out with a ghost story. A bunch of little boys out on a trip, you know, just hanging out around a campfire while this old man tells them the fucking terrifying story of Antonio Bay, in which a group of pirates with leprosy were looking to establish a leper community within Antonio Bay. And these 6 elder pieces of shit, instead of telling them to go on their way, we don't want you here, which would have been mean in of itself, but at least they would have lived. But instead, they conspire to sink their ship and fucking kill them, and steal their treasure as well. So, you can definitely understand why these pirates would be fucking pissed off, and rightfully so. So pissed off, as a matter of fact, that they end up there's a curse placed upon Antonio Bay, wherein 100 years they would rise from the grave, rise from the watery depths, in the form of a fog, and they would take revenge on Antonio Bay. What a fucking cool story. Like, just the idea of that is so fucking creepy, and I think it's executed so well. Within the town, it doesn't start out like, it's not immediate. Like, there's no immediate just pirate action killing people. That happens, don't you worry. But it starts out with just creepy shit. Just weird shit as we approach the 100-year anniversary of Antonio Bay. You know, weird shit starts happening. Car alarms are going off for no reason, all at the same time, which is just as annoying as it sounds. Just all this very eerie shit going on. Stuff shaking, clocks are shattering and breaking, and just all this very, very eerie, creepy shit. And eventually the pirates do come, and I just wanted to mention this. I love the moral ambiguity in this when you really start to think about it. You know, obviously within this movie, within the context of what we're seeing on screen, yes, the pirates are very much the bad guys. They're killing innocent people. But I love, as much as I love a unquestionably evil villain or villains, there is something to be said about the moral conflict of a justifiable villain. These people were killed 100 years ago unjustly. They did not deserve it. There was no reason for them to die. These horrible, awful elders, churchmen actually, like, these people are supposed to be men of God, and they slaughter these people who did nothing to them. That moral conflict in your head, it's like, yes, the people they are killing don't deserve it, but are they really the ones at fault here? I don't think so. I think the true villains of this are the six elders who killed them 100 years ago. It's their fault that their descendants and the people who live in the town now are dying. The pirates are basically just playing their role in the curse. And yeah, obviously, I'm not going to act like they're the heroes of this story. They're not. There really are no heroes in this. Because the people who are celebrating, like, hooray, Antonio Bay, 100 years, while they may not know their blood-soaked town, their town's blood-soaked history, they're playing a part in it. And in and of itself, while they may not realize it, it's wrong. I just really enjoy that. I guess I probably shouldn't have watched Ryan Hollinger's video on this as well as watching the movie, because I was so enthralled with the story that I immediately went and watched his thing, and that was probably the thing that was most interesting to me about this, is just the moral gray area that this movie carries. But anyways, let's just get into the spooky shit. So yeah, man, let's talk about the fog itself. Incredible tool for a movie like this. If you were to just have zombified pirates running around and killing people, I don't think it would have been as effective. There's something to be said about that fog just pouring in, and the supernatural nature of it. It goes against the wind. It is not a force of nature. It is a force of evil and vengeance and anger. And it's so quiet. There's nothing overtly aggressive about it. There's nothing overtly aggressive about the pirates either, until they, fucking brutally kill you. But, they're silent. They don't say anything. They don't make noises. It's just this silent wave of revenge, and it just works so well. There are parts of this film where the fog just completely envelops a home, and they can't see out their windows. It's just pure fog, and then you hear one of the pirates just knocking on the door with his hook. Oh, it's creepy shit, man. It is Ghost Story 101, and I fucking love it. It's just really, really cool shit. The fog is used so expertly in this. Expertly? That's a word, right? We're making it. We're going to do a Days of Darkness dictionary. It's going to be the first piece of merch I ever release, where every fucking weird word I've ever said is just going to be documented in that thing. And it's going to be all new words, legal, I think. Anyways, the characters in this are really cool for the most part. I'll mention this right off the bat. The relationship between Nick and Elizabeth didn't really work for me. Elizabeth, who is played by Jamie Lee Curtis, is picked up by Tom Atkins' character, Nick Castle. And it's like they just hook up. They just fucking hook up out of nowhere. And it's like she's hitchhiking, he picks her up, and then the next scene, we get a little cute dialogue here and there from him. And then they just fuck. Just straight away. And hey, I'm not gonna act like that's a totally unrealistic thing, but we're supposed to be getting emotionally invested in these characters. And for me, getting emotionally invested in a just random out of nowhere relationship doesn't really work for me. It's like my one real critique with this. I would have much rather them have an established, cute little relationship just right off the bat, because that would have immediately, at least in my mind, made them more sympathetic when you see these people in peril. Because, she like hugs him and is like, when she's scared and all this shit. And it's like, you just met this guy. And Tom Atkins is significantly older too, which, I'm not going to get into that whole shit. That's not what we're here for. But like, it was just like, they're hooking up. Okay, I guess they're a thing now. Whatever. And you just have to kind of accept it. But other than that, I like both of them just fine. Obviously, they both do very well. Tom Atkins is incredible. Jamie Lee Curtis is incredible. So I had no problem with their inclusion in the movie. I just think their character introductions could have used a little bit of work. in my own opinion. If you have a differing opinion from that, I'm more than welcome a debate in the comments. I have no problem with that. Then we get DJ Stevie, played by the lovely Adrienne Barbeau. She is easily my favorite human character in this film. Her voice, sure, albeit a little exaggerated, but her very, very sexy voice is played throughout this entire film in the form of radio, just, leading up to the 100-year anniversary of Antonio Bay, yada, yada, yada. But just hearing her voice throughout this film was really, really cool. She has a son named Andy, who he's a little cutie as well, which is funny because this came out in 1980, so he has to be over 40 years old now, it's always weird seeing kids in these old movies because, like, man, that kid's no longer a kid. He is old. Not old, but fuck it, you know what I'm saying. But anyways, I really like their little relationship here, and there's a scene where Andy is in trouble with the fog, and he's at his what's her name? Miss Ketterwell? We'll just call her his babysitter. So he's at his babysitter's house, this old woman, and she gets fucking brutally killed by the pirate people. I gotta find a fucking name for these guys. I'll call them the Revenants. She gets brutally killed by the Revenants, and then it's a very heartbreaking scene. You just see Stevie just crying out to her kid, crying out to anybody to help her kid as well. Please, she's given the address over the radio, and then Nick and Elizabeth then go help little Andy, which is a cool scene. Makes me like that character even more. But yeah, man, it was that's a fucking hard scene, and props to Adrienne Barbeau. She fucking did fantastic in this movie. At the very end, when she's on the roof of the radio tower or the lighthouse or whatever you want to call it, where she broadcasts from, just getting her physical performance dealing with these very creepy pirates was very cool. Other than that, everyone else was kind of, I'm not going to say blah, it's very much so it's very much so an Annie and Halloween type deal. I like them just fine. There's no one I don't like in this movie. It's just, to me, Elizabeth, Nick, and Stevie were like the standouts for me. Also, Father Malone I love his little arc. He's basically the one his grandfather was one of the men responsible for the deaths of the pirates 100 years ago. And so you have to see him basically come to grips with the fact that his bloodline is partially responsible for this horrible curse. And just seeing at the end when he basically is willing to sacrifice himself to be that sixth man, or sixth life that the pirates take, as well as giving them back their gold. To me, I think that's a good form of redemption for that character. I really, really enjoyed that, because just the entire time he's drinking and he's just so distraught over basically what he has discovered his church to be. His church is basically a lie. It's a fallacy. It's something that hides a very awful secret that you see this character basically learn throughout the story. It's heartbreaking, but it's also very compelling, which I really enjoyed that aspect of the film. And yeah, man, let's just hop into that ending, shall we? So the ending of this is really cool. No, we can't get into the ending because I need to talk about the little detail that they get. The ship's name is the Elizabeth Dane. That is the name of the ship that is sank, and Andy finds a little piece of board that was a gold piece, and then he looks at it again, and it's now a piece of wood. and he brings it back to his mom, and it's a broken piece of the ship head that says Dane on it. So he gives this to his mother, and then she's the one who finally really realizes that something is wrong, and her and Father Malone as well. And they have to discover, or she has to discover this in a very terrifying way when she's broadcasting and the board starts leaking water. It's like bleeding water from the Dane lettering etched on the board. And then all of a sudden, it bursts in the flames, and she just reads it. The board now reads briefly, 6 must die. There were 6 elders that were responsible for the death of the pirates, and they want 6 lives in return. Because clearly they can't get any of the original men who did this to them. So 6 innocent lives from the same place is the next best thing, I guess, because they're living off of their slaughter. So I can understand it from a sick point of view. But yeah, man. And so at the very end of this, all of the central characters, Father Malone, Stevie, Andy, Nick, and Elizabeth, which I think it's cool too. It's a little symbolic that Elizabeth, Elizabeth Dane, Elizabeth, I don't know if that was coincidence. I imagine not with John Carpenter. But very, very cool ending here. They're all in the church itself, and they discover the gold, and they're thinking, okay, if we give them this gold, which has been melted down into this big gold cross, which again, I think speaks to the irony that these churchmen, these holy men, slaughtered a bunch of people and took their gold and melted it down into their symbol of, hope and faith. Very, very, very ironic there. But anyways, so they dig out this gold cross, and Father Malone basically realizes that they're probably gonna kill him anyways. So he then offers himself up along with the gold to these pirates, and they grab it, and the fucking gold starts glowing, and they're all shaking and shit. Father Malone and the head pirate, I forget his name, I think it's Clark, maybe. But they both grab the gold, and Tom Atkins' character basically saves Father Malone for the time being, and pulls him back, and then the pirates leave. And they're gone, and you think, all right, cool. Everything's well and good. They only needed 5 deaths instead of 6. Not the case. Father Malone is shown to still be walking around the church at the very end of the movie, and you just see the fog pouring in, and you're like, oh shit. And sure enough, that fucking motherfucker bursts through the door and just slices his head off. You don't see it, unfortunately, but that is very clearly what happened to him. And yeah, man, that's The Fog. I really, really like this one, guys. I would highly recommend it. It's not gonna blow your balls off or anything like that, but to me, tonally, this is very similar to Halloween, which already gets a plus from me. It's suspenseful as shit. The story's incredible. To me, I don't think, besides the minor little nitpicks I have here and there, to me, I don't think there's any reason to skip this one, guys. I would highly, highly recommend it. But yeah, that'll do it for the review portion of this video, but we still gotta get into the blood, the guts, and the gory bits. We gotta talk about my kill of the film. Stick around. You've heard me multiple times within this film compare The Fog, I should say, to Halloween. Mostly with tone. Obviously the same director, John Carpenter, was behind this, so you're gonna get a lot of similar feel, especially since this was the one he made directly after Halloween. However, to me, Halloween is the better film, But if The Fog has one leg up on Halloween, to me, it's the fucking brutality, man. Holy shit. This movie gets not graphic, but it gets brutal. Like, there's some kills in this. It is not a splatterfest by any means, which makes the Thing that he would later on, that John Carpenter would later on create, makes that fucking movie, it's like insane the amount of gore that's in that. But no, man, what we get here is a lot of quick, to the point, brutal, gross kills. You get a lot of sound in these kills. Some honorable mentions before I get into the big one, which I fucking adore. Old lady, the babysitter, babysitting Andy, gets pulled into the fog, and she gets taken down to the ground, and she's obviously within the fog at this point, so you can't see it. But you just hear stabbing and pulling off limbs and all this gross shit. It's very brief, but I love when films make you think about what's happening. It gets scary, especially if you have a weird brain like I do. The gentleman who was always calling Miss DJ Stevie, he gets killed, and she actually has to listen to it on the phone, and he opens up the door trying to be all macho and shit, and it's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're thinking. She's thinking the same thing. She's like, dude, get the fuck away from the door, man. What are you doing? So he opens it up, and they just fucking, you get a hook right in his neck, and they just pull him into the fog, and you hear him scream, and the scream just slowly gets muted out. And it's just like I said, it's the sound for me. It's the sound that sticks out so much. Not only the music, which, by the way, I have to mention that too. The music in this is fucking awesome. But just hearing that voice just slowly drown out, and you're just like, it's like, whoa, God. It's fucking scary shit. There's lots of other really cool kills. The two gentlemen at the beginning of the film, the sailors, also have some really, really cool kills. Just the sheer blunt, just stabbing and hooking and fucking them up. Good shit. And yeah, Father Malone also has a pretty memorable death at the end of it, but it is completely off screen, so it disqualifies it for me. Cool kill, but to me, what above all else, what really, really knocked this one out of the park for me as far as kills are concerned, is the third guy to get killed on the boat. I don't remember his name, not going to pretend to, but the other two guys are dead. He's just kind of sitting there in the dark, and that's another thing, the lighting matched with the fog. It all works so well. It works incredibly, especially for this one. This is probably the standout moment of the entire, not the entire movie, but as far as kills, it's the standout kill, and it's my kill of the film. So he's standing there, his buddies are dead, he doesn't know it yet, and you just see one of the pirates just slowly walk into the doorway with the fog pouring in behind him, and he just slowly walks up to him, and you're like, ah, fuck. And they pay it off too, man. He turns him around, grabs him by the throat, takes his sword, and again, you don't see it happen, but he just pop, just plucks his fucking eyes out. And it's quick too, man. You're like, holy shit. Just something so brutal like that. It's very rare to see something like that in one of these earlier horror movies. I shouldn't say early horror movies. That's going back to like the fucking 30s, but as far as like the rest of these kills go, just seeing that quick succession of stabs to the fucking face, oh my God. And especially after Halloween, where the most graphic kills we got were like strangulations and stuff like that. To see someone just get stabbed in the face so bluntly and brutally, it's a standout, man. It's my kill of the film. Honorable mention to afterwards, we get to see his body fall onto Elizabeth, and his eyes are very much gone, and you get to see the effect that getting killed by one of these revenants have on you. where it basically makes your body look as if it had been under the sea for like 100 years, which to me, that's just an awesome detail. I fucking love it. I think it adds so much to that mystique about those characters. And yeah, man, that's gonna do it for me, guys. I know, I'm well aware this review had a little low energy about it. I just got my second vaccination to pull back the curtain. So yeah, I'm a little drowsy, but damn it, I wanted to get this review out to you guys, and I'm really happy I was able to today. Yesterday, not so much, but doesn't matter. Go out and get vaccinated, and let's end this fucking shitty pandemic. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for The Fog. As I've said, I can't recommend this movie enough. It's a fucking solid Carpenter film. I really think you sit down, get some popcorn, turn the lights off, you're going to have a good fucking time, man. Next time on Days of Darkness, we're actually going to be straying away a little bit from the movie reviews. Obviously, don't worry, the movie reviews will be the central part of this channel. It's always going to be like that. I'm never going to stray away from film. I fucking adore film, but I also know that I want to broaden my horizons a little bit and talk about some different stuff. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences in life. I'm really glad, actually, this is the one picking up from The Fog. I didn't even think of this being a paranormal movie. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences in my life, and those things are something that I want to talk about, and I want to talk about it on here. We'll get into all sorts of them as this channel goes on and it grows more, but I wanted to start out with my time at a haunted hotel, which is going to be the, title of the fucking video when it comes out. But yeah, guys, I'm really just tempted to start rambling about it right now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save it. And the gas comes through. But I'm looking forward to it, guys. I think you guys are really going to get a kick out of it. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, that's totally up to you. But I am really looking forward to talking about it. I really hope you guys are looking forward to hearing about it. And that being said, we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up. So, all right, guys. Thank you, as always, for the support. Thank you for supporting this channel. Just take care of each other and keep watching horror. All right, guys. Have a good one.